my saggy middle-aged bits tits were the colossal weak link on that ride. And here we are again today at Dick Lovett Motorcycles to take something out for a spin and hopefully see when my bike will arrive. And today we're on something again a little bit special. The 2024 BMW S1000RR. Let's have a look. So I've picked a terrible place to stop between that bend and that bend in the Welsh countryside. I've come over the M4 and I'm heading back now to go back over the M48 because I thought this would be a good little route to take this quite intimidating bike on. Now, this particular one comes in the stock black. It has got the performance pack on, which has got the Akrapovic exhaust, or Akrapovic, and it has got that performance chain. For 2024, it did have the aero package put on, or for 2023 it came out the aero package, which that looks fucking awesome. I do prefer this bike in the white, which I'll show you in a second. So let's have a look at the things I like and I don't like. I will say that seat is not comfortable. Rear pegs on a bike when you have no seat, that's super annoying. And that's all I can say about that bike. I won't lie to you, it's not comfortable. Or maybe I'm not the right rider for it. But the performance is nothing else I've ever ridden. And why I say it's like nothing else I've ever ridden, it's the closest to an automatic bike I've ever had. It has got such a big rev range, going from up to 15,000 revs, and I was in 6th gear between 35 mile an hour and 70 mile an hour. That makes it for me practically on automatic. And it was a good test because I was in some contraflow at 40 mile an hour, just sat there, which is the reality of riding a bike on British roads. The thing I would say, if you're desperate for this sort of performance and you want to be comfortable, get the M1000XR. If you're going on a track, this bike is a weapon. The performance is so smooth, and at low down speeds it was really quite remarkable. There was no lumpiness, no jerkiness. It was comfortable enough for a bike of its ilk. It seemed to be quite economical. It handles lovely. I don't know what else to say. It's just, for a bike of this ilk, I don't know how it could be done better. I mean, I'm no sports bike aficionado. What did make a big difference for me, the last time I had a sports bike was an R6 without cruise control. And having cruise control on this allows you to sit at speed and sit up, take your hands off the handlebars and give your wrists a break. I did find the switch gear here a little bit too that way. It needs to be over that way, but I mean, that's minor details. Let's look at the dash. Very pretty, double R. And that display, oh, it needs its running in service. That display is fucking awesome. There are some elements on the bike from a fit and finish perspective I find a little bit disappointing. If we have a look in here, that is plastic and looks a bit clangy. We have plastic down here that looks a bit clangy, and the chain guard, which is actually melted on the chain, which is, for this money, that is shit. All in all, I've got not a lot to say about this bike. It's really good at what it does. It's planted. It feels really secure in the corners. The visibility out the mirrors is phenomenal. The gear ratios seem right. The engine is smooth as silk. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but you'd expect that. If you're going to go on a track, I don't know what you'd get to be better than this. Panigales, I think probably when you get to this type of money and this type of performance, they're all the same. But if you're after that performance and want it more comfortable, it has to be the M1000XR. Let's take it back to the dealership, sum up my thoughts, and do some more of those twisty roads. See you there. So, I've come into the dealership. Let's have a little look around for my sum up on the S1000RR Dick Lovett Motorrad. Come for the bikes, stay for the pop. So as I mentioned, here we are back at the dealership to sum up my thoughts on the BMW S1000RR. Now I think we can all agree pretty much all bikes are better than all of us in our capabilities to ride them either on-road, off-road or on track. But I've never felt so far away from being capable on a bike than I do on that bike. The performance is time-alteringly fast. And to have a bike where 35 mile an hour all the way up to pick your speed can be done in sixth. And bearing in mind that 35 mile an hour was at about 3,000 revs and 70 mile an hour was at 5,000 revs. And on that you just don't need to. You sit in one gear and it flies permanently. A very special bike. But unless you're taking it on a track, I don't see the point of it. And I can't imagine what would be better than it. But if you want that performance and you want to go anywhere, get the M1000XR. The bike for me was too tall. I felt like I was folded in half like a penknife. The visibility from the mirrors was fine, but when you're on that sort of race bike and you're hunched over, you're so tunnel visioned on what you're looking at that you sort of lose sight of the world. But it's a strange review for me, this one. There's no real negatives about this bike, but I wouldn't have one if it was free, because I'll never be good enough to ride it, ever, on any surface. And if you are good enough to ride that bike, then my hat's off to you, because it felt like it wanted to eat my face off. And with that, oh, the M1000RR review is down below if you want to have a look at that. And if you could hit subscribe or comment and like, be appreciated. Cheers.